Let's begin this edition of the program from the Ashanti region, and in 2020, over 300 adolescent girls were impregnated in Ghana every day, with 13 teenage pregnancies recorded per hour. Majority of these girls, according to data from the Ghana Health Service, were domiciled in the Ashanti region. 2 years on, the region is still pegged as Ghana's leading hub of teenage pregnancies and teenage mothers. Love FM's Emmanuel Bright Kweku and Anita Sewajoga interacted with some teenage mothers in the region to understand the root causes of the increasing numbers and what could be done to salvage the situation.
With a promise from her 19-year-old boyfriend to tie the knot in the future, Rukia, as I choose to call her, bore a child with him.
My boyfriend promised to marry me when we were at school. My father cautioned me, but I never heed to his advice.
Unlike most teenage mothers, the 17-year-old is lucky to have her mother cater for her baby while she is away at school. Rukia is unperturbed by her present circumstances despite being mocked by her schoolmates. She is rather focused on actualizing her dream as an illustrious journalist.
My friends mock me. I feel bad whenever they do that. But I am now determined to be a journalist, so I can advise the younger ones.
Ekia, also a teenage mother, is due to deliver her baby in a month's time. Her unborn child becomes her second with her boyfriend, who is almost twice her age. The 16-year-old dropped out of school at primary 4 due to her mother's inability to cater for her and her siblings.
Because my mother didn't have money, I had to stop school.
Unlike Rukia, who tells me her pregnancy was from her obstinacy, Ekia says abject poverty pushed her to be with a man, hoping he would take good care of her. But Ekia is presently worse off, as a boyfriend who works as a painter is unable to cater for her and their offsprings.
I go to my boyfriend's sister when he tells me he doesn't have money.
The economic plight in major Ghanaian cities have forced many vibrant but destitute adolescent girls to sell off their bodies to men to earn a living. Data from the Ghana Health Service reveals about 17,802 teenagers in Ashanti region got pregnant in 2020 alone. The Sokoremampo municipality is a hub to many young parents. Nana Ajiman of the Sokoremampo Local Traditional Council explains some causes of the growing numbers of teenage parenthood in the area. Some adolescents are stubborn. No matter the amount of money you give them, they will still go after men. According to research, one's first sexual encounter is dependent on their level of education. The higher an adolescent's educational level, the less likely to engage in sexual intercourse at an early age. In Ghana, teenage mothers between the ages of 10 and 16 years are mostly school dropouts. Teenage mothers who begin their sexual escapades at an early age are therefore more likely to be primary school dropouts or uneducated. To help alleviate the worrying statistics, the Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana has over the years provided basic family planning support, maternal and child health care, and education for victims of early child parenting. John Owusu-Mensah is a field officer.
And we have raised a project in Sokoremampo municipality which is known as End Child Marriage. What this project seeks to do is to eliminate or reduce child marriage and give information to people, because we identify that these are pregnant teens, parenting teens. We cannot leave them behind. We cannot leave them to their fate because maybe we think they have gone beyond what we are expected of them to do. But here is the case, we cannot leave them. We have to also kind of assist them to in their upkeeps and everything.
Lack of formal education and access to vocational training are a few of the attributable causes of a teenage mother's joblessness. As part of its mandates, PPAG provides some livelihood support to young girls in communities. The skills training is to set upcoming teenage girls on the rail to establishing their own businesses and not become victims of the menace.
The training would help me establish a business other than going after men. I can use proceeds from this to continue my education.
A root cause of teenage pregnancies and premature parenthood has been unemployment. But as more institutions set out to aid these younger generations with livelihood support, it could only be deemed as a step in the right direction. Emmanuel Bright-Kweku and Anita Sewajo guest report for Joy News.
Now let's do some stories in relation to the strike by the teacher unions. And in the OT region, third-year students at the pre-tertiary level have been calling on government to listen to their teachers and respond to their demands in the coming days, as the strike declared on Monday could have dire consequences on their pending final examination. The students, who were largely loitering around the premises of their schools on Tuesday, were without their teachers. For more on this, let's join my colleague from the OT region, Peter Seno.
It is day one of the teacher union strike declared across the country. Tuesday morning, Joy News monitored the situation in some schools in the region. Some children who came to school very early in the morning were just loitering about. Some do not really understand why their teachers have gone on strike, but have been sharing their opinions with Joy News.
They want the government to pay them some amount of
money.
Yes, because the system is hard.
The system is hard.
Yes.
So you think they are justified? Your teachers are justified for going on strike to demand that?
Yes.
But you are in Form 3.
Yes.
You're preparing for exams. Isn't that going to affect you?
No, it will not affect us because they have taught us many things up to the end. So without their support, we can learn on our own.
Some people say they should be in the house, but I told them that I want to come and see what will happen.
So what's happening today? What did you see?
I see that there is no teacher here. It's only the students.
Good. You are in Form 3 too?
Yes, please.
So how do you feel about the situation?
I don't like it at all, but we don't know what to do about it.
And so would that affect your preparation towards your BC?
Yes, please.
So between now and when your teachers come back to school, what are you going to do?
Well, we will be here studying small.
The strike is going to affect us in so many ways. As third years, we stayed in the house for barely a year, and not being able to complete our syllabus, we are finding it very difficult to even prepare for our final exams. And with this strike that has also occurred, it's going to affect our studies and affect us in our performance. All that we can do for now is just to do our personal studies by ourselves, to wait for any further information that will be given to us. I think the two parties should sit down and think about the whole issue so that whatever each party demands will be given, and if maybe they need to make amends about their demand, should be done to them for the teachers to come back to the school.
But do you know why your teachers are on strike though?
No, please.
Well, they said they wanted a cost of living allowance from government, 20% of their salary or so that government, that will cushion them, considering the current cost of living. So do you think their demand is justified, your teachers?
Yes, please.
Why do you say so?
Because in this economy where there is inflation, prices of goods increasing day in, day out, they really deserve what they are demanding for.
Some parents are also calling on government to immediately respond to the request by teachers so their children could go back to school.
Teacher focus strike right because yeah too normal so na yeah two teacher for teacher ni obre teacher ni ma nipa ye nipa nti awon ye de onwo bo aban we de yesre wa yakutu yesre bomodi na hwe teacher for no onko school dem na nkola no so nko sua de pa emaye.
We don't know what is going on. We don't know what is going on. They say their allowance and so we are praying for the government to come to their aid. So like by this by first break like this, like I'm sure by the first break the food will finish, but they are not around, so we are just managing it.
At KGB Asatu Senior High School, where I am currently, the second years are supposed to be writing their end of semester exams, with the third years continuing with their mock examinations. But things have grounded to a halt as a result of the strike called by the teacher unions. Although officials here would not go on record as to how they are going to manage the situation, joining sources say some service personnel who are in the system would be made good use of to resolve the situation. We have also been joined by the district NAT chairman, Mr. Philip Obonye. He has been going around and we want to find out from him his observations regarding the strike that was declared yesterday and in day one today. And so what has been your findings after moving around the schools?
Thank you very much. Having gone around most of the schools, I've realized that teachers are actually adhering strictly to the directive from leadership to stay out of work. So in some of the schools, they have been virtually closed down. Other places too, you go and meet only the head teacher at post. I tried to interrogate with him, he said none of the teachers have reported for duty. So I think they are enforcing the strike to the latter.
From the OT region, my name is Peter Sanu for Joy News.
From the OT region, let's head to the Upper East region and a 2021 baseline survey conducted in the Upper East region by child rights organization AFRIKIDS Ghana revealed that 39% of girls in these schools believe that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics related fields were meant for males. The research also showed that 60% of the girls considered these subjects their least favorite in class. However, a science, technology, engineering, and mathematics program recently organized for some basic schools and the AFRIKIDS Girls STEM project showed that the perspective of the girls about these subjects were beginning to change due to the impact of the project. There is more in this report by my colleague from the Upper East region, Albert Sori.
The Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics or STEM quiz was organized as part of the Girls STEM project being implemented by AFRIKIDS Ghana. The aim of the Girls STEM project is to whip up girls' interest in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects and to guide more girls to choose careers in these fields. According to Country Director of AFRIKIDS Ghana, David Pualua, a baseline survey was conducted before the project began in 2021. He said the results of the survey showed a clear lack of interest in girls towards the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics subjects.
32% of girls that we spoke to strongly felt that STEM was a boys' thing. Again, only 39% of those that we spoke to had used a STEM equipment before. 60% of our girls mentioned that pre-tech, ICT, and mathematics are their worst subjects. Thanks to the collaboration efforts of AFRIKIDS Ghana and the Ghana Education Service in the delivery of G-STEM projects in your schools. The number of girls who will aspire to pursue science and technology related disciplines at the senior high and beyond shall increase.
Under the project, Girls STEM clubs have been set up in 20 selected basic schools in the Busa North District and the Bolgatanga municipality of the Upper East region. There are 25 girls in each club. The Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics quiz program was organized for the selected schools, with 4 of them emerging as finalists. The schools were the St. John's and Yekine Junior High Schools from the Bolgatanga municipality, and then the St. Martin's and Afoko Junior High Schools from the Busa North District. Before the quiz, some of the schools presented science projects which they made based on how they could help solve basic problems in their communities.
It's like this. This is the air and this is water.
So the air wants to come out, but the water is blocking it. So it has to get a counterpart, which is atmospheric pressure, to help push the water out before it can get out. So when I open the knob, I aim and the water flows because it has its counterpart, which is pressure, to help it push, help push the water down. But as soon as I close it, because the air.
The schools then proceeded to answer some questions in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. At the end of the quiz, St. Martin's Junior High School emerged winners. Their contestants told Joy News they no longer feel that science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are tough subjects that should be feared by girls.
The difference I'm seeing is like I should not only learn only in the classroom, but I should learn other things outside, especially by doing research and getting my own ideas and be learning them. Not only what the teacher is teaching in the classroom, but I should also learn on my own. They always teach us in maths. Sometimes we do engineering, like making the platform which books can be kept on. Taking part in the process, I feel happy, and I can encourage more girls to join it because it has been helping us. So we've learned things that we didn't learn in normal classes.
According to AFRIKIDS Ghana, the Girls' Term project will be extended to cover more schools in the 5 regions of northern Ghana. For Joy News, Albert Sori, reporting from Bolgatanga.
Let's still stay with Albert Sori from the Upper East, and he reports that at least 300 people in the Boku West district of the Upper East region have been given free eye surgeries by the Haven of Love Children's Foundation. The surgeries were given after the organization conducted a free eye screening exercise for more than 1,000 people. Majority of the patients who underwent the surgeries were suffering from cataract, which were corrected. He has more in this report.
The Haven of Love Children's Foundation is a Christian-based NGO that has been engaged in charity work in the Boku West district for about 4 years now. The organization works mainly towards the improvement of children and their well-being. Every year, the Haven of Love Children's Foundation organizes an outreach here in the Boku West district as part of its charity work. This year, a free eye screening exercise was organized and free surgeries were conducted for those who needed them after the screening exercise. According to the founder and chief executive of the Haven of Love Children's Foundation, Samuel Nana Bekai Jirako, the medical exercise was organized because the organization believed that children are well taken care of when their families are generally healthy.
Our foundation is focused on the love of Christ, and the love of Christ is practical. It's not just talking. Like the Bible says, let's not love in words, but in deeds. So we are showcasing God's love practically to help the less privileged and the vulnerable who cannot take care of themselves, and to help the parents to have good sight, to be strong enough to be able to work and take care of their children. And it's on the backdrop of an eye screening exercise which was conducted for 1 week in the Boku West district, and we had 1,500 people checked in 7 communities. We had 300 people who needed surgery.
It was detected after the eye screening exercise that a majority of the people had cataract, a condition that results in cloudiness in the lens of the eye and leads to a decrease in vision. Upper East Regional ophthalmologist Dr. Lotson Dagba was one of the doctors who performed the surgeries.
Yes, it's noted that the northern sector and then the Upper East tends to have high levels of cataract. Aside that, what I've noticed is that other infestations and then uveitis, which come into people's eyes and then they are not well managed, also are at higher level over here. And then another big factor is that we don't have enough comprehensive eye care in these regions, probably because we are having deficient number of health professionals in eye. So we have some level of equipment to make the work possible by the help of the All Grace Health Consult, and then Himalayan Cataract Project, which is ACP. That gave us some instruments to help the work, but they are not enough. We still need more.
Some of the patients who underwent the surgeries spoke to Joy News.
We didn't get any treatment, so we was just praying that maybe we may get someone to help us. I'm very happy and I'm thanking these people for your help or your support.
In previous years, the Haven of Love Children's Foundation conducted dental screening and surgeries, as well as hernia screening and surgeries. They also mobilized support to help fight the COVID-19 pandemic, embarked on cleanup exercises, and organized youth empowerment programs, all in the Boko West District. For Joy News, Albert Sori, reporting from Zebila.
Now, residents of the Trifo-Himan Lower Denchua constituency have expressed joy and gratitude for their Member of Parliament, Bright Rekubrube, for giving them funds to support the businesses of women in the constituency. The private initiative by the Member of Parliament was instituted as a result of the economic hardships in the country, leading to high inflation and the hikes in prices of goods and services. Central Regional Treasurer of the New Patriotic Party, Francis Asari, who stood in for the MP, said the MP was poised to do more to support the people in the constituency.
The MP for the area, Brad Rekubrube, noticed that there's a little hardship in the system as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and the Ukraine-Russia war. Most former employees are fighting for coolers, so he decided to support those who are in the informal sector, i.e. the petty traders. So today, he decided to assemble over 100 and give them support to boost their business. So today he has given everybody 500 cedis to support their petty trading. This is different from the government initiative or the Obatampa project. Every trader, when you are going to buy things, you don't consider the political affiliation of the person. So what we are doing is that we selected those who are into petty trading, irrespective of their political background. So these people, some are NDC, others are MPP. That's why I was advising them, those who have benefited, they should not go and tease the NDC, MPP people that they are following the MPP, meanwhile they haven't gotten anything from the party. He has another project for the drivers. You know, the drivers are also affected most because of the high prices of the fuel. So he has decided to provide subsidy for the activities. So he has arranged with the DVL to come and render their services to them in the various communities. So that one also is in a pipeline. Very soon you will adore that project too.
The Trifo-Himan Lower Denchua constituency chairman of the MPP, Abubakar Farouk, said they would monitor and make the necessary interventions to ensure that the intervention works for everybody.
We call them based on communities. So we have gathered a plan that every 2 weeks, we, the constituency officers, will be moving to the communities and then call them, ask them, meet them, and then know their problems and then their hitches. So I want to get to know their problems and their hitches, then we address them and educate them how best they can use the money wisely so that they can also develop the money, or they can get profit from what they have benefited from today.
Some of the beneficiaries of the program expressed their excitement at the support by the MP.
I have to say about the whole thing is that this fund is designed to support the petty traders. And as a student, I came here to seek support because I engaged myself in Gary production, which also helped, and it does a lot for me in my education. Gary processing business, for us, our major challenge is that you buy the farm and you go into the farm the next day, and half of the Gary, the cassava might be spoiled. So, and also the roads linking the farms to the house is very challenging.
From our correspondent, we will take a short break. We shall be back with more. Stay with me. Welcome back from the break. We head to the Upper West region, and the Upper West Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali, has urged implementers of the Ghana Landscape Restoration Sun Small-Scale Mining Project to help address the environmental challenges in the northern Gulf of the country. He said the northern belt over the years has its environment being devastated as a result of wildfires and sustainable farming methods, among others. Rafik Salam has more in this report.
The Ghana Landscape and Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project is a collaborative project with the World Bank and other development partners. It is a sequel to the Sustainable Land and Water Management Project. The $100 million funded project therefore seeks, among other things, improving land and sustainable land management practices, reversal of land degradation and desertification, and artisanal and small-scale mining formalization and accountability. It is also aimed at improving revenues for small-scale miners and cash crop farmers and job creation. Upper West Region Minister Dr. Hafiz Bin Sali urged all implementing agencies to see the project as a continuous way of addressing the myriad environmental concerns in the northern Gulf of the country.
The 5 regions of northern Ghana, as we all know, are largely rural, have an agricultural population, and have a unimodal rainfall pattern. These areas must also contend with the devastation caused by wildfire, unsustainable farming methods, and indiscriminate tree cutting for charcoal production, all of which contribute to soil degradation and the prospect of desertification. These issues mentioned earlier have diminished the productivity of agricultural areas, forests, and water resources, increasing poverty and vulnerability to natural catastrophe such as floods and drought in these regions.
12 districts in the northern belt of the country are benefiting from the project. 4 of those districts are from the Upper West region. The duration of the project is 6 years. Upper East Regional Director of the Environmental Protection Agency, Asha Inkagbe, who also doubles as the head of the Technical Coordinating Unit of the Ghana Landscape and Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project, threw more light on the project.
Once we are implementing the project, the communities are benefiting from it. In fact, they are the center of the project implementation. All that we do is centered on the people. It's centered on the women in the various communities. It's centered on the vulnerable groups in the various communities. It's centered on the farmers. It's centered on everybody. And in fact, at the end of it all, everybody benefits.
He also spoke about the challenges being encountered in implementing the project.
In the release of land, our communities are a bit hesitant to release land. They're not sure what is going to happen next, whether their lands will be annexed, and taken over by government institutions. But we've been engaging them, and once we engage them, they release the land.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam. Wow.
Let's come down south and to the Volta region, and the British High Commission has begun a move to revamp the Volta Star Textiles Limited in the North Tongue district of the Volta region. The initiative, which falls under the British government's Job and Economic Transformation Agenda, seeks to identify investors to aid in retooling the textile factory to meet market demands. The British High Commissioner, Her Excellency Harriet Thompson, led by the North Tongue Member of Parliament Okujeto Ablakwa, toured the facility to ascertain first-hand information. There is more in this report by Fred Kwame Asari.
The Volta Star Textile Limited was established in the late 1960s in Joapon, in the North Tongue district of the Volta region by the late Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana's first president. It witnessed an upgrading under the administration of General Champon in 1978 and operated until 2005 when it collapsed due to outmoded machines among other factors. President John Ajekum Kufuor revamped the yarn and grey bath manufacturing factory in 2007. It has since been operational to date. In recent times, the factory operates under capacity due to the outmoded machinery. It is only able to produce 6 million yards out of the expected 20 million yards per annum. Speaking at a mini deba, the Mankalalo of the Dofo traditional area Togbe Mankalalo Agbohala VI lamented the state of the factory.
This textile factory is one of the largest factories in West Africa. The current situation of the factory is that the machines are outmoded and we need retooling or new machine to revamp the factory. The demand of our finished product is so high that the factory cannot meet the demand of the market.
The British High Commissioner, Her Excellency Harriet Thompson, after a feasibility study to ascertain the state of the factory, promised to liaise and get investors to revamp it.
Through the Jobs and Economic Transformation Programme, the British government is supporting the governments of Ghana to transform those sectors of really high potential, including garments and textiles, helping to create the policy environment and helping to drive the investment that will really see those sectors perform to their fullest potential, generate the wealth for the country, but also, obviously, and very importantly, to create the jobs that are so desperately needed. So I'm very glad that as part of that programme, my team are helping to lead the discussions that will identify the right investors for this factory, help to structure the financing in the right way that can enable this factory to return, I hope, to its former days of glory.
The Northtown Member of Parliament, Okujetu Ablakwa, believes the initiative to retool the factory will fit into the agenda of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
With the talk of the African Continental Free Trade Area, where Africa wants to industrialize, where we want to increase intra-African trade so that we will empower our young people, create jobs for our young people. This is the way to go. We already have a factory that can serve as, a growth pole, and we just have to expand and revamp the factory. So I am really passionate about this factory. I am really hopeful that this partnership will be long-lasting and it will serve our community very well.
Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Dwapong.
To the Bono East region now, and a survey conducted by the Kintampo Health Research Center has revealed that close to a quarter of adults in the middle belt of Ghana had hypertension, with less than half of them being aware of the hypertensive status and nearly half of those on treatment having controlled hypertension. The community-based research initiated in the year 2015 was to, among others, understand the prevalence of the hypertension within the Kintampo North and South District. Correspondent Anas Sabit has been speaking with Solomon Nyame, who is the implementation coordinator for the hypertension control study at the Kintampo Health Research Center, and filed the following report.
Hypertension is a major public health challenge affecting populations from both economically developed and developing countries globally. The disease remains a major risk factor for the development of cardiovascular diseases, which is responsible for over 17 million deaths worldwide in the year 2015. The highest prevalence of hypertension in the world occurs in the sub-Saharan Africa, where many patients of hypertension end up with strokes and myocardial infarctions. Hence, the disease is described as a silent killer. The Kintampo Health Research Center in the year 2015 embarked on a community-based study to understand the prevalence of hypertension within the Kintampo North and South districts. Solomon Nyame is the implementation coordinator for the hypertension control study.
What happened was that in 2015, we wanted to understand the prevalence of hypertension within our setting. So what we did was that we spoke to about 2,500 participants within Kintampo North and South to help us understand the prevalence and other related information regarding hypertension and its related issues. So that's what informed our decision. So we used a standardized questionnaire, which is the WHO stepwise questionnaire, where we asked key questions about lifestyle, we asked questions about medication use, we asked questions about demographic questions and other, but we also collected some blood samples to do analysis for comorbidity.
The survey, amongst other things, revealed that the overall prevalence of hypertension stands around 25%, with more than half of the hypertensives not knowing their statuses.
The outcome, which has been published online, talks about the fact that we found the prevalence of hypertension to be around 25%. What it means is that when you take every 4 adults, one of them has hypertension. And then also what we also found was that out of those who were hypertensive, majority of them didn't know about their status. What it means then is that they are not really seeking care. And for those who knew about hypertension, I'm afraid to say that some of them are also, about half of them are not also seeking the needed care at the facilities. And that meant that there is a lot of people walking around with hypertension who are not really seeking care.
Again, in terms of gender disparities, the male subject had a significantly higher prevalence of pre-hypertension and stage 1 hypertension compared with female subjects.
We found that majority of the participants we interviewed were females. However, those with hypertension tilted towards the male sex. And what it means is that, well, because of a lot of factors, for instance, we know that when it comes to the intake of alcohol, the male sex dominates. And also another thing that came out of in terms of gender, was that majority of the women were seeking care. However, when it comes to the men, about 15% of them were, at the time of the survey, seeking the needed care.
Solomon Yamin, however, admonishes Ghanaians to endeavor in seeking to know their statuses to ensure that they get the needed care on time.
The Ghana Health Service is putting in a lot of intervention for people to check their BP. This is not just for hypertensive patients. What we are trying to say is that if you are 18 years and above, and I'm stressing on 18 years and above because we previously thought that hypertension was for people who were, let's say, 40 years and above. But what you are realizing nowadays is that people below 40 years, even below 80 years, adolescents are having hypertension. So when you go to the health clinic or whatever facility you find yourself, there are opportunities for you to check your BP, know your status, and whatever intervention the health system gives to you, try and adhere to it so that you don't get the complications which leads to death and all the other issues.
The study showed that 1/4 of adults in the middle belt of Ghana had hypertension, with less than half of them being aware of their statuses. Anas Sabit, Joy News, Kintampo.
Now, the paramount chief of Yunyo in the Northeast region has bemoaned the persistent poverty and lack of socio-economic opportunities for residents in the district. Na Yamiya Tuka II says endemic poverty among households in the area has led to increasing cases of harmful practices such as child marriage, sexual and gender-based violence, and unintended pregnancies, among others. The chief, however, believes government would be able to effectively tackle poverty and reduce the incidence of these harmful practices. There is more in this report by Elias Otanko.
The paramount chief was speaking to Joy News on the sidelines of a stakeholder dialogue session put together at the Regional Coordinating Council in Nalirgu by Human Rights, Community Engagement and Policy Influencing Organization NORSAC. The engagement aimed to educate stakeholders in the Junjo and Cherpone district following the introduction of a new youth empowerment program by the NGO in response to the growing cases of harmful practices such as gender-based violence, teenage pregnancies, child and forced marriage, and others in the two districts. The Junjo paramount chief blamed the situation on poverty, the lack of social protection intervention programs, and weak state institutions in the district.
But they are growing by the day. Kaya particularly, people's wives are leaving them because they go down south. If not Kaya, but they are in the Galamsey area, you go and get pregnant, you come back with patients who haven't been unfaithful to their husbands as a result of their staying away for too long, and causing a lot of family breakdown. In the driving force is the quest for money and better living conditions. Poverty is very high, just like everybody is experiencing in the world. Currently, there's general hardship. Our currency doesn't seem to have any value at all. Cost of living has risen so high. People are finding it very difficult to solve.
NORSAC as part of activities to mark its 20th anniversary this year, has extended its operation in the Northeast region with the introduction of the Power to Youth program in the 2 districts. The session was organized to sensitize the key stakeholders in the 2 districts to ensure smooth implementation of the program, which aims to empower young people with the ability to engage in decision-making processes and to challenge and break existing power dynamics. Yeri Nancy, a senior coordinator at NORSAC, who led the dialogue session, gave further details about the program.
So, the program will be running for 5 years, and the overall goal is to ensure meaningful youth participation. So, in order for us to be able to reduce or mitigate the 3 key issues, that is unintended pregnancy, harmful practices and sexual and gender-based violence, we need to meaningfully include youth at every level, from the home to the community level, to the district level, and the national level discourses.
The NORSAC coordinator appeals to both the regional and national authorities to do more to protect the poor and vulnerable, as well as tackle social cancers such as teenage pregnancy, child marriage, and so on.
The district assemblies, what are the gaps? What are the strategies that are being employed, and what are the gaps? We need to all work together to ensure that whatever gaps that are existing with the current strategies, we are able to do what? We are able to eliminate those gaps. We are also knocking on the doors of the Regional Coordinating Council. They have already been doing a very good job. It's a new region, and they have done so well. They have instituted their regional child protection committees, but a lot more needs to be done. And with the resources that we have, we'll be able to support them to do the needful. But a lot more has to be done from the central government to be able to resource them to do their work.
Representatives of some of the youth groups who took part in the dialogue session had this to say about the new program.
It's about giving the youth the opportunity to come and speak out. We have situations whereby young girls are forced into certain things, for instance, the rape, and the girl even fears to come out and speak out. But with this program that is giving the power to the youth, I think it will help to reduce rate of those issues in the district.
From Nalergo, Elias Sutanko reporting for Joy News.
We head to the Bono region now, and the Energy Commission says they are liaising with other partners to improve and commercialize innovative projects from the Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge. Senior Manager at the Commission and the Program Coordinator for the Challenge, Richard K Nyarko, also said such a move could help students earn money from the projects. There is more in this report by Precious Semevo.
The 2022 Renewable Energy Challenge is under the theme Clean Cooking and Food Processing Using Renewable Energy Technologies. The challenge, according to the Energy Commission, is to encourage and assist senior high school students to come out with innovative projects to transform the cooking and food industry in Ghana. Sumaman Senior High School in the German North District won the Bono Regional Challenge, involving 7 schools with their solar food dehydrator innovation to address the problem of tomato spoilage. Francis Ejapon Jr. is the lead presenter.
Ghana is estimated to produce over 300 tons of tomatoes. And most of these tomatoes are produced in the rural areas. And in the rural areas, they lack the appropriate and hygienic method of preserving such tomatoes. So we built the solar food dehydrator in order to address this problem. The solar food dehydrator is capable of dehydrating tomatoes and keeping it nutritious. We didn't use solar panel. We just used the red malt can in order to construct a solar panel-like structure in order to attract the sun. It converts the solar energy into thermal energy, which is used by the drying chamber in order to dry the tomatoes.
Senior Manager at the Energy Commission and the Programs Coordinator, Julius Nkansa Nyarko, said the Commission is to partner with other stakeholders to explore the economic viability of the projects.
Our objective is to select the best projects from each region, which will enter into what we call zonal competitions. And we are working with the CSIR and other research institutions to achieve this. We are also talking to the Clean Cooking Alliance, who are one of our sponsors. And the Clean Cooking Alliance is under the United Nations Foundation and who promotes clean cooking. They'll be assisting us to develop the winning project and also to commercialize it. So once that is done and these projects are brought onto the market, money should be made from them, and the project developers, who are our students, would benefit from it.
Professor Nana Safo Ajimandechi, a lecturer at the University of Energy and Natural Resources, appealed to the government to help whip the appetite of students for more innovations that solve challenges.
Now, government should give support for all of these. If an idea comes, we need a real, financial support and, other things. If government says that, this thing that you have brought about, we are encouraging you, go ahead, do it, and then we'll find, buyers and all of that. That is the way to, commercialization. So policy is something that is really important. With that commitment and other stakeholder support, something will come up and then we'll be amazed that, this thing that started like this is the end. So that is how innovations start, and we need to help the appetite of these students.
Doma SHS and Sunyani SHS emerged second and third respectively. Precious Semevo, Joy News, Sunyani.
Now the Nkranza Technical Institute shrugged off competition from 6 other schools to emerge as the regional champions of the Energy Commission's Renewable Energy Challenge in the Bono East region. The competition, held under the theme Clean Cooking and Food Processing using Renewable Energy Technologies, was initiated to demonstrate the use of digital innovations in cooking and preserving food. The school, which also won the contest with its project that seeks to minimize deforestation by producing smokeless charcoal with palm kernel shells, is optimistic about winning the ultimate prize at the national level. Anas Sabit has more in this report.
The Energy Commission's Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge aims at developing the research skills of senior high school students and also promote technological innovation in renewable energy and energy efficiency. Under the rules of the competition, participating schools were expected to develop projects in the areas of clean cooking and food processing using renewable energy technologies. Here in the Bono East region, 7 schools comprising of the host school, Techiman Senior High School, Nkranza Technical Institute, Kintambo Senior High School, Yeji Senior High School, Jema Senior High School, Nkranza Senior High Technical and Kwabre Senior High School participated in the regional contest. Dennis Norte is an officer with the Renewable Energy Division at the Energy Commission.
This challenge is to foster interest in renewable energy technologies among students in the second cycle institutions. We don't have to wait till they get to the universities before we try to get them interested in renewable energy. The world is currently moving towards renewable energy. And even currently now, if we look at the prices of fuels, if our renewable energy systems were great, we would have been able to supplement our fuel shortage with renewable energy.
Unlike the previous editions, the winning school for the 3rd edition, with support from the CSIR, would have its product marketed, which would in turn provide income for the participants.
For this year, we've gone a step further. We are going to the winning projects. We are collaborating with certain research institutions like CSIR to scale up the winning project so that it will be marketable, and it will also give the students some small money in their pockets to be able to fend for themselves when they get to the university.
The Nkranza Technical Institute shrugged off competition from the participating schools to retain the trophy as the regional champions, winning the contest with its project that seeks to discourage deforestation by producing charcoal with palm kernel. Ban Raphael is a member of the team.
We chose palm kernel shells because people do use trees for charcoal, but for that one it can cause deforestation. But using the palm kernel shells, it is renewable. Meanwhile, it doesn't affect the environment. There's no way that you need to fell a tree before you can get the charcoal. But when you use it in a raw form too, it will pollute the environment. So we decided to pass it through a process. That's the carbonization, so that it can be used for clean cooking and food processing.
For the only female participant amongst the winning team, she's hopeful that the team would win the ultimate prize at the national level.
I know definitely we are going to be first, because with the presentation and the palm kernel shell that we brought, we get all these things from Agric, but they are not using it. But we are able to create it and bring something that will help Ghana to reduce deforestation system in the world.
Regional Director of Education, Mrs. Ifwa Amwa, noted that the Regional Education Directorate will provide the needed support to the regional representative to ensure that the region win the zonal and national contests.
As a Regional Education Directorate, we promise to give our support in any way possible to support the winning school to be able to move forward. My expectation is that they will go and win at the zonal level and be able to make it to the national level.
She, however, acknowledged that the competition would go a long way to enhance as well as improve the research knowledge of the participants.
You know, they have to research. So it means that this competition gives them the opportunity to research into renewable energy. And so they cannot just come up with any project when they have not experimented on it. So it is good. Their knowledge would be enhanced, skills in experimenting will also be enhanced, and I'm sure even their attitude towards learning will be better than it has been before.
This year's competition, held under the theme Clean Cooking and Food Processing Using Renewable Energy Technologies, was initiated to, amongst other things, demonstrate the use of digital innovations in cooking and processing food. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Tichiman.
And that's our show for today. Many thanks for watching. My name is Richard K Nyarko. I'll see you same time next week. Have a good day.
My name is Albert Sorry, India region, and the name is Edwin Official. I am Prefect Salami Wa.